Hello, and welcome to this video that I'm putting together for explaining a little bit about dissolution of marriage and divorce. This is primarily applicable to Ohio. I am a licensed attorney in Ohio. My name is Karl Kilguss. I've been licensed for many years there, and I used to do a whole lot of full representation divorce work. These days, I have a very specialized practice in the sense that I only help people through dissolution and simple divorce practices. And I'm going to explain a little bit about how that works. A lot of people are well aware of what a dissolution in Ohio is. Others are not so sure. So let's start from the beginning and say that a dissolution is a divorce. It's just a different way of going about it. Divorce opens up a full divorce case, and at some point you get into settlement or mediation. You either agree on most or all things, or you go to trial to sort anything out. But what happens is you get an end result. Dissolution is a fast forward approach to that. So if people can agree right up front to what they want to accomplish in the divorce on all issues, you can file these agreements and move right to the final hearing. And that's where we come in. And there are three components to a dissolution. The first is that you must prepare all the court paperwork according to the standards of local and Ohio rules. And then you file that paperwork after signing it, of course. And then you attend both parties one hearing. That hearing is called a final merits hearing. At that point, the judge orders the divorce, paperwork is sent through, and you're essentially done. That's where we come in. Is the easy part in this process is filing it. That's no more than going to your local clerk and submitting the documentation properly and filing it. At that point, they give you a hearing date. You show up at the hearing date. That's also the easy part. And I do cover with everybody what to expect at that hearing, but it's simply about a 5, maybe 10-minute hearing, very simple questions. The reason the filing and the hearing is so simple is because in a dissolution, everything hinges on the paperwork. So when you file it and you go to the hearing, all you're saying is, everything we said in the paperwork is what we want, and the judge is aware of that. The paperwork thereby becomes the part that's a little tricky for people. And again, that's where I come in. So going through and getting a handle on how you prepare this paperwork, what are the ins and outs, what are the things you need to know in order to get it done, whether you've got minor children or no children, the paperwork is difficult. And if you're the kind of person that said, well, I love those research projects in school and term papers based on research, I think that's probably right up your alley. But you'd be expecting to spend an awful lot of time researching things like that and putting it all together. We simplify that. We take care of the paperwork. Courts often require revisions of paperwork for local or whatever the court personnel or the judge or the magistrate seems to like to see. And we make those changes, of course, as well. The only thing we don't do is I don't go to court with you. I don't file it for you, but I'm going to prepare you properly to understand how to do those things very easily so that you can get through it, okay? And that's the goal here, is to help people get through the dissolution process as easily as they possibly can. Now, similar to that is a lot of people say, well, it takes both parties to do a dissolution. We have to agree on everything. Well, what if my spouse is absent? I don't know where they are, or they live in another state. That's fine too. A very similar approach is what's called divorce, but you proceed what's called uncontested. I help a lot of people with that issue too. Again, it's prepping proper filing papers and knowing what to do at the hearing, which will be, again, a very simple 5-10-minute hearing, because most people who have been separated like that and they're distant don't have issues of splitting property, spousal support, debt, and things of this nature. If you do, then it may be more appropriate to go divorce. But if the other party's not going to show up to court, filing divorce to proceed uncontested is really very simple. And I'm happy to talk about it. That's the other point to this video, is to say, look, I'm a resource. You can call me. We can talk about the situation and see what's best for yourself. divorce just doesn't have to be a super stressful, time-consuming, I don't know what's happening situation. And if you can talk to some professionals about it and get some of the answers you need, I think you're going to find that you can get through it pretty easily. Now, if you're in a very contentious situation, nobody agrees on anything, well, there's no question that you'll need to file a full divorce, usually have attorneys to promote your case and what it is you're deciding is an equitable situation in the divorce on all issues. But a lot of people don't fall into that category. They fall into the, I just want to get divorced. We each have our own stuff. Maybe we've been separated for a while, maybe not. But this just isn't all tangled up. Or a lot of people might have children. They say, well, we've been separated, but we do visitation even though nothing's court ordered, and everything seems to go fine. So what we seek to do is recreate that in the paperwork appropriately so that the court will then ratify it. So if you have any questions or you want to get some basic information and talk about your situation, I urge you to call me. My number is 513-410-4847. My name is Karl Kilguss. I am a licensed attorney in Ohio. I'm talking in this video in February of 2022, and that's just for posterity, because if 5 years from now somebody watches this video, I want them to know the date and time, essentially, that we put it together. Our fees for helping people are $400 without minor children, $450 with minor children, and that's catered to make it inexpensive and more affordable for people, because on full representation attorney dissolutions are easily $1,500, $2,500. You see it a lot. But if you really agree on anything, you say, well, can't we get it done inexpensively in a way that, because we already have everything worked out? Absolutely. And if you're on the edge of that and maybe you don't have everything worked out, but you think, maybe with a little guidance, you might be able to, give me a call, okay? There's no charge. You can talk to me directly, and I'll do my best to answer all your questions. And if dissolution or a process that I help you with isn't appropriate for you, that's fine. But at least you kind of know what it is you need to do to get the ball rolling and get where you want to be. Okay, so I appreciate you watching the video. Feel free to share this with other people. I am available most days. You can call me anytime between, morning to early evening hours is fine. I field calls myself, so there's no call centers here. And I just want you to feel relaxed and be able to talk about these issues because, a lot of people really struggle with the ability to talk to an attorney about these issues. They're not available, or they want, to charge for consultations and whatnot, which, I think is appropriate, but I'm not charging for consultations, okay? So feel free to call, and I'm happy to answer your questions. Thank you.